Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. I'm sure by now all of you seen the report out of NOLA.com from Jeff Duncan. If you haven't, it's basically an entire article about Michael Thomas. I'll go through some of it and kind of go over what I think about this whole situation. First of all, I thought we were done with this. Honestly, thought this Michael Thomas thing was over. But as you know, more news came out, and I mean, you guys can just read this. Basically saying that Thomas, he didn't want the surgery early on. He wanted a second opinion, which that's normal. That's his right. Take a second opinion. You can do that. That's well within his right to ask for a second opinion on his ankle, because surgery is tough. No one really wants to have that surgery unless it's absolutely necessary. Then this next little paragraph that I have circled right here, or that's a rectangle. But anyways, in March, Thomas elected to take the conservative approach and bypass surgery. Obviously, it says the Saints supported this. I mean, it's his decision at the end of the day. So, a couple problems with this. One, we were eliminated out of the playoffs in January. So, making a decision in March just doesn't make sense to me. But it's okay. It's March. It's not the end of the world. You still have plenty of time before August, September rolls around. So even though I think that decision's late, and maybe they couldn't do anything until March anyway, even if they wanted to have the surgery. So not too mad at that. But this is where it starts to get a little spooky and a little diva-ish. This next little paragraph where it's just unexplainable, unacceptable, just whatever words you want to use to describe this situation. It can't happen. And I'll read this entire thing just because it's very, very important. For unknown reasons, Thomas fell out of communication with the Saints. He did not return multiple calls over the next 3 months. 3 months. The Saints trainer, Bo Lowry, wide receivers coach Curtis Johnson, and head coach Sean Payton all tried to reach Thomas. None of their calls were returned. 3 months of calls. Not one call returned from Michael Thomas. Just let that sink in. I'm almost lost for words that he would even pull something like this, that any player would pull something like this. And I mean, it's just unacceptable. You can't have this from anyone on your team. Not if you think you're going to be a championship team. This is one of your best players. This is a franchise guy, $100 million man doing this. Very, very, very unacceptable. Let's just go through some of the guys on the team. DeMario Davis, Sean Payton calls him. He answers. If he doesn't, he gets back with him within a couple hours, guaranteed. Drew Brees is gone. Drew Brees gets called from Sean Payton, he answers, or he gets back in, with a couple hours. Any player on this team, if Sean Payton calls them, or wide receiver coach, their position coach calls them, they're getting back in contact with those people immediately. And I understand Saints training staff has been weary. I don't blame him for not trusting them, but this is not the way you go about this situation. This is absolutely unacceptable. And honestly, if the Saints trade him, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't even care at this point. He's already been suspended once by the team for fighting Gardner Johnson at practice. And everyone knows Gardner Johnson, he can be an asshole sometimes. He gets under people's skin, but you can't ever just start fighting your teammates, at practice. Little scuffles here or there. But obviously, for him to get suspended, it had to be something big. Obviously, cameras didn't catch it. It never came out. But he's been acting like a diva. And none of this has happened until he signed that $100 million deal. I look at those things, with a little side eye. You're on your best behavior until you got that money, and now you feel like you're untouchable because they paid you, so they can't just cut you. They can't, contract negotiations are over, so you just feel like you can do what the hell you want. And it may sound good, but let's see how fun you have when you're playing in Detroit. You understand? And this is coming off the heels of things like this, in this offseason. Obviously, 2 guys that we brought in, to help us win a championship didn't work, but Emmanuel Sanders, Janoris Jenkins, both 2 veterans, 2 real good guys that came in, and they both basically echoed the same exact thing when they left. Paraphrasing here, that the Saints were one of the best organizations. Well, Jenkins said it was the best organization he's ever played for. They just understand guys. They just understand that it's more than football. They treat these guys like humans. Very easy to communicate with the coaches and the staff and things like that. Emmanuel Sanders kind of said the same thing. He praised Peyton all off season and things like that. So for Michael Thomas to do something like this, you can't put this on, our staff or anybody like that, because everyone's, kind of saying the same thing. So if we had a history of, treating players bad, this or that, then I would get it. I would give him some leeway. But I mean, we have no reputation of these things, and the only person that has a reputation of being a diva has been Michael Thomas so far. And he either has to get that in check, or, like I said, ship him out of here, man. No one player is bigger than this franchise. I've been a Saints fan way, way, way before Michael Thomas, and I'll be one way, way, way after Michael Thomas. But man, I don't know. It's more in here. Let's just get through the rest of this. Yeah, man, this is a good article. You could probably read it. I'll post a link to it. Jeff Duncan did a great job getting this insight, getting this information. I'm not even going to question the credibility of Jeff Duncan, because if you're a Saints fan, then you know all about Jeff by now. So, I mean, it's a great story, an unfortunate story, though, because you never want to see your star player, involved in some things like this. I still can't even wrap my head around him ghosting the entire team for 3 months. This man basically just left and showed up to camp with a hurt ankle in June. Like, do you understand that? I mean, he's technically, if he was healthy, he can do that. If he's healthy and he's grinding and everything's fine, you come back to camp and you're 100% ready to go, I don't care if he goes to the team. But when you're hurt and you're still hurt and your ankle's not getting better, and then you come back and like, oh, I probably need surgery. Dog, we've been calling you for 3 months. And guess what? We've been calling you for 3 months, and the surgery recovery time is 3 months, 8 to 12 weeks. So when we called you the first time, we could have gotten this done, and about the time he came in June, he would be 100% or pretty close to it. Drop the ball. And if you read this last little, I'll call it a paragraph, but it's really just a sentence. Peyton has had a good relationship with Thomas, but the star receiver has tested the patience of his head coach with this latest mistake. Now, if you know Sean Payton is petty. He is one of the most petty coaches I've ever seen in my life. And you can't out-petty the head coach, Michael Thomas. Let's just get that squared away. Show some damn respect to the team that's paying you $100 million. $100 million. You say you're the best receiver in the game, this or that. Act like it on and off the field, because your latest showing, on the field, wasn't it. You were hurt, I get it, but show some damn respect, man. Like, I'm being nice right now. I'm holding back, just because I don't want to say what I really want to say, because this is bad. Like I said, I don't know if the Saints I don't think they're gonna trade him, just because the way the cap's set up. I'm sure they'd take a big hit, but unacceptable, man. Very, very unacceptable. I hate it. Hate that this is the Saints. This is our reality right now, man. This is a tragedy. The boot tragedies, man. I hate that every video I do, this name just gets more perfect every time. But yeah, man, this is the life of a Saints fan. At the end of the day, I don't think it'll be major if he comes out and gets back to all pro Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas coming back out, balls out, all pro, everybody forgets. He comes out, plays bad, gets re-injured, anything that's not an all pro receiver, he's getting killed, and I think he's getting moved. So hey, that's the risk you take. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Boot tragedies, and I'm out.